This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland.
Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. My name is Simon.
And I'm Joe.
And today is a very exciting day because, first of all, we are back. Yes, we are still alive. Some of you have wondered after almost half a year, or maybe even longer if we count every day.
Let's call it 6 months.
Yes, but, this and that, life and so on. But as always, in almost every episode, we try to stick to our schedule and be there like every 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe once in a while it's going to take a bit longer. But let's come back to the topic. What are we going to talk today?
Okay, well, it's a very exciting episode today because, as those of you who've been listening for a while will know, I became Swiss last year. And we have a federal election coming up this Sunday in Switzerland. That's the 22nd of October, 2023.
Ooh, yes.
So, I've got something interesting in my hands here. It's very heavy. It's very thick. It is my voting papers, and they arrived in the post a couple of weeks ago. And I've been saving them to unbox here on our podcast. I'm going to open up this perforated slip on the back, and Simon is going to talk us through what on earth this gigantic envelope is that's come for me to vote with.
So first, before you open it, how do you feel? How is it? I mean, after becoming Swiss, that's the most important day for a Swiss citizen, I think.
Right. I mean, this is what it's all about, right?
Yes.
That's why you become Swiss, vote.
We've got the votes all the time, but the general elections.
You know what? When I saw it in the postbox, I thought, ooh, I've got some kind of present. And I turned over, I was like, hang on a second.
Yes, and we elect the parliament, right? So
yeah, exactly. It's the vote for the MPs.
Yes, so yeah, exciting.
Shall I rip it open?
It's very thick, so like 1-2 centimeters thick, I guess. That's something like 15 stones in British language.
Yeah, I think that's more like about 5 centimeters thick.
Okay, how much is it in
you know what, I don't...
feet and inches?
I was born after the inches time, but it's maybe 1.5 inches, 1 inch, something like that.
We lose a lot of time already. Let's open it. I can already hold it close to the microphone. Ooh.
Woohoo!
Yes, I can already say something about this opening thing. Because
I did that really well.
You know, that's extremely hard to open. You have to keep in mind, you have to close it afterwards again if you want to vote by post or elect by post.
Now you tell me.
Somehow that's, always I rip it all open so I can't properly close it again.
Yeah. So the envelope the voting material comes in is also the envelope you're going to use to send your stuff back if you're voting by post.
Yes.
Good goodness me. So what I've got inside, number 1 is some sort of brochure in a plastic packet.
Yeah, advertisement. It says on top, Werbematerial means advertisement for the national, for the MPs.
Political parties, groups and candidates. Mm-hmm. Okay, so shall I come back to that in a second?
Yes.
Then I've got, this one, it looks like a little notebook.
Yes, it's a notebook with how many pages can you see? It must be something like 40, 50, 60 pages, isn't it? Like loads.
The pages aren't numbered, but...
Yeah, it's loads. And so on each of them is a party. And on each page, there are 20 MPs. And you can vote for them. 20
potential MPs?
Yes, potential MPs, yeah, candidates.
So each page is a different party list, right?
Yes, and it's not only some parties have also... wow, now it's getting complicated. Mm-hmm. You see where this is going. Me explaining wrongly how the Swiss elections work. No, at the end, you can vote for 20 candidates.
Wow.
And the candidates can be from all sorts of parties.
Huh.
And you can also vote for a party and just throw in an empty list. Mm-hmm. Because the amount of seats...
Yeah.
So you have 20 on one page. If you vote for, let's say you vote for the party X.
Yeah.
And you throw in an empty list without any names on it. Uh-huh. That means this party will get 20 votes.
Okay, I've got an empty list here,
yes,
right?
And based on this, the amount of seats will be divided by the parties. So if you can also take a list that is full. For example, you take the SVP.
That's the first one in the book.
And it's filled, because it's the biggest party, and it's filled with 20 names. And you can throw in that whole list, and then I just vote for what the SVP suggests. And then they will also get the 20 seats. But you can cross out one person if you think, this person I don't like. You will have an empty space there. You don't need to fill it. You can leave it empty. And then the vote will still go to the party, but not the specific person.
Gotcha.
So in the end, it will be counted how many votes have gone to a party. And based on that, seats will be allocated. So let's say the SVP will then at the end gain like 12 seats. And then based on the votes for the names, the seats will be filled.
Very interesting.
And now you can...
there are 39 pages here, by the way.
The parties have all sorts of different tactics how they fill their lists. They can fill their lists, for example, some have... the SP, for example, they have women and queer and men and queer. Sometimes they've got an expat.
Not expat,
not
but,
immigrant.
Yeah, what do they call that? I can't remember the name of the list. Let me see if I can find it in here. It's people who became Swiss or have foreign roots. Or
Exactly, something like that. And some parties, they combine even, So not specifically one list per party. You can also... two parties can combine their lists because they think maybe like this, we've got a higher chance of having enough votes to get a seat. So
they also have the young parties, like the young SVP and the young socialists as well.
Yes.
That's pretty interesting.
And so in the end, what you can do is you need to vote, or you can vote for elect 20 names. You can choose them randomly. You don't have to choose them by party. So you can also take just the empty list as is in there, and you fill in the 20 names by yourself, whatever you want. The alternative is you can take a full list, let's say from the SVP, and you say name 3 I don't like. You cross that name out and you put in whatever other name you want. So you don't need to leave it empty. Then the last thing you can do is to cumulate. So you can the maximum votes you can give for one person is 2. So what you can do is put one name twice on a list. So you can also take, if you think, I've got 10 people I want to be elected, you can take the empty list and put each of them twice. Then you've got all the 20 lines filled with 10 names.
It sounds more like a game of Uno than voting.
Yeah, it's very complicated. I think it's extremely complicated to understand what exactly to do.
Are there instructions in here?
There are instructions, but I think
how to vote.
It's extremely
difficult. A little
difficult.
guidebook. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little thick guidebook, I'd say. But yeah, so that's that. And then we have the Regierungsräte also. I don't know how to explain what they are.
It's like the local government.
And them you can give one vote, and then in this envelope is also a local. In this election papers is also a local vote.
Oh my goodness!
So that's why you also have to vote.
There's so many bits of paper here.
You fill out 3 papers in the end. 1 vote, 1 for the government, local government, and 1 for the national government.
Crikey, I better get cracking.
So that's that. So it's not completely straightforward, but you've got many votes. Just for the people listening, I can see Joe in front of me, basically buried in paper. I'll try to take a picture afterwards of all the papers.
This is crazy.
And
in the UK, we're just like putting a tick or an X in a box, and that's it, basically, and hoping for the best. This is like I don't even know what to say about this gigantic bundle of information that's come here.
Yeah, so that's that. And I think it's quite an interesting time in Switzerland. I'm not sure if you've noticed anything in the last few months. Especially if you drive on the road outside of town or anywhere.
Yes. There's pictures everywhere of people.
Yeah. So
you know what's funny? In the town centres, you used to have these kind of special
places.
Areas. Special places where they have rows of all the photos of people who are running for election on these kind of like sandwich boards, but all stuck together. And it's as if you could walk up and down them and have a look at the faces and decide who you want to vote for.
Yeah.
Weird, right? And out in the countryside, they just have sort of posters stuck along the side of the road on wooden sticks that you can look at as you're going around.
Lots of advertisement going on and lots of leaflets and everywhere on bikes and, bicycles in baskets and in your letterbox and just everywhere. Everywhere people and politicians run things throughout the country. They go and give away biscuits and things, try to get into the papers. They've tried to bribe us with some everything like
things
that,
in the postbox.
So, and I think, seeing as we talk about elections, there is one website we must talk about. It's Smart Vote.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can't even remember what I did pre-Smart Vote. It's such a great website. And do you want to talk about it?
No, you go for it.
It's basically all the politicians. There is a questionnaire. You can make it short or long. I think short is something like 30 questions and long is something like 70, 80 questions. And you answer each question and you can say, for example, they say something like, do you think the retirement age for everyone should be increased and everyone should work until they are 70 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can say, yes, I agree, no, or I don't mind. And you can say, this is important for me or not so important for me. You go through all the questions and all the politicians do it. And then at the end, you will get the recommendation from all the politicians. You'll get, if you want to have exactly the same opinionated people elected, you choose these 20 people. And then they've got the whole list of every politician. You can also have a smart spider. I'll put one as an example in our show notes. Then you can see it and you can compare it to yours. You can see, they think a little bit different in these questions and so on. So it really helps a lot in comparison to what you have here in front of you. It's just a mountain of papers where, you have to, you just read some kind of, I don't know what from them.
Yeah, and you know what? In the lists of the parties, they give the person's name, their date of birth, and what their job is. For example, teacher or architect or whatever.
For some parties, that might be more important. For others, maybe less important. But anyway.
Very interesting.
So that's that. So back to you. Will you watch the election?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course. I'm going to go election crazy on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah,
Are
man,
you going to elect in person or?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean,
you will have to hurry up. Otherwise, I think
I'm either going to put it in the letterbox on Friday or Sunday.
Okay, yeah,
but I'm just not sure which day yet.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely have a look at it. And what do you think? You already mentioned a few things, but in comparison to the UK, what's the difference? What do you think?
I think the difference is, in the UK, it's if someone is going to win the election, it's kind of like either going in one direction or the other. One party is taking practically everything and they're making the government, aren't they?
Yeah.
But here, we've got the country is ruled by a group of people, the Bundesrat, who have to make decisions together, and it's representative of many different parties. So it's much more about kind of consensus politics. So it's not going to be, from one day to the other, we have a completely different government. It's not like that at all.
Yeah. With us, it's more like a big ship, and which is slowly moving a little bit in the direction left or right.
Exactly. And you're much more involved. You have to make much more detailed choices here, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's true, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right, exciting times coming up.
Yes, indeed.
And for us, it's time for...
Uh-oh.
The Swiss word. Ooh. So the Swiss word this week is a schnar.
A schnar.
Yeah, a schnar.
Okay, in case this is your first time listening to this podcast, every time Simon picks a Swiss German word, and basically I have to guess what it is. Is it related to the topic of the podcast?
Absolutely not.
Great. I've never heard this word before and I have no idea what it is. A schnar.
I can assure you have heard it before. No, because I use it, but it means a bite.
A bite?
You can take a schnar from an Apfel. Means a bite from an apple. A schnar.
Okay.
Yes, there you go.
Fantastic.
And schnare means like from an apple. So not eating like, super nicely.
To gnaw on something.
Right, so before we end, I want to say thank you to the people who asked where we've been, because many of you asked really nicely, mainly on Facebook. and said, how is it going? Why are there no new episodes? And I really want to say thank you very much. That really made our day.
We love that.
Yeah, it was
That's the motivation for us to make another episode, basically.
Yeah, was extremely great. And also some shared their ideas for other episodes. Also on Facebook, they sent them. And I read through all of them. I took some notes. I didn't reply to all of them. I'm really sorry. I also didn't reply to all the emails. I'm also really sorry. I or you will do that for sure, hopefully one day. And before we end, I also want to say the biggest chance of getting heard is if you just send us an audio message. And you can do that on our website, which is called swissandchips.com. And if you type in swissandchips.com/inbox, then you can just record with your phone or with whatever you have an audio message, and we will play it in the next show, one of the next shows, and answer your question if you want to. Would be fun.
Would be awesome.
All right, so that was it for this episode, and
thanks very much for listening.
Bye.
Bye.